There's a hole in your spaghetti spoon you've probably never understood. A tiny pocket on your jeans that's existed for over 150 years for a reason almost no one knows. And an arrow on your car's dashboard that most drivers completely ignore. These details are in your life every single day. You see them, you use them, you look right past them, never stopping to wonder why they're there. Today, that changes. Get ready to discover 10 things that have always been right in front of your eyes, hiding functions that most people never imagined. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell, because this is exactly the kind of content we bring you every week. And if you already know the channel, drop a like before we continue. It helps more than you think, and it takes 2 seconds. Now, let's get into the list. Number 1. The tiny pocket on your jeans and wondered what it was actually for. A lot of people automatically stuff coins, lighters, or gum in there, but that was never its original purpose, and the story behind it is older than most people imagine. This pocket first appeared in the 19th century, when pocket watches were essential gear for cowboys and laborers of the era. It was designed specifically to protect those watches during hard physical work, keeping the metal cases from getting scratched or damaged by friction with tools and materials. Over time, pocket watches all but vanished from everyday life, replaced first by wristwatches, then by cell phones. But the little pocket stayed. Today, it shows up on practically every pair of jeans in the world, a detail almost no one can explain, but that no one ever thinks to remove. Number 2. The lines on your palms. The creases on our hands begin forming while a baby is still developing in the womb, right around the same time as fingerprints. But contrary to what a lot of people think, they're not just there for looks or as an identity marker. These lines serve a very specific mechanical function, increasing the friction between your skin and whatever you're holding, giving you a firmer, more secure grip. Without them, holding onto anything would be significantly harder, especially when your hands are wet or covered in sweat. That's why a soapy bar of soap slips so easily out of your hands. The lather fills in the spaces between the lines on your skin, reducing the friction that normally keeps your grip firm. Too much hand cream can cause a similar effect. Beyond that function, these creases also let your skin move and flex naturally with your hands and fingers, without limiting flexibility, a piece of biological engineering that took millions of years to perfect. Number 3. The holes on the sides of your sneakers. If you've ever worn a classic pair of sneakers, especially running shoes or basketball shoes, you've probably never quite understood what they were doing there. The first function is practical and immediate, improving airflow inside the shoe, helping reduce heat and moisture buildup during extended wear. In closed sneakers, the internal temperature can climb considerably. These holes exist to minimize that effect. They also speed up drying time after a wash, letting water evaporate far more easily than it would in a fully sealed design. But there's a third use that most people have absolutely no idea about. These holes can actually be worked into your lacing pattern. Depending on the width of your foot, running the lace through them creates an extra lock that keeps your heel more secure and your sneaker more stable during intense physical activity. Number 4. The arrow next to your fuel gauge. This is one of the most useful details on any car's dashboard, and also one of the most overlooked, even by people who've been driving for decades. Next to the fuel gauge, on most modern vehicles, there's a small arrow pointing to one side. It shows you exactly which side of the car the fuel cap is on, left or right. It sounds simple, but this little detail is especially valuable when you're driving a car you don't know well, a rental, a borrowed car, or one you just bought. Instead of getting out to check or dealing with the awkward moment of pulling up on the wrong side at the gas station, all you have to do is glance at the dashboard. The arrow is right there. It always has been. Number 5. The tiny black dot near the iPhone's cameras. On the back of many iPhone models, there's a small dark dot tucked discreetly between the cameras and the flash. It's so small and blends so seamlessly into the design that most people go years using the phone without ever noticing it's there. Even though it looks like nothing more than a design or manufacturing detail, it actually houses a dedicated microphone, one that captures ambient sound directionally. This component works together with the phone's other microphones to create a more effective noise cancellation system during calls, video recording, and voice command recognition. The practical result is significantly cleaner, more precise audio, especially in noisy environments. An invisible detail that improves the quality of nearly everything you do with the phone, without you ever noticing. Number 6. The flaps on seat headrests. If you've ever taken a long bus trip or a long flight, you probably know the feeling of waking up with your head slumped to one side after dozing off in your seat, that neck discomfort that lingers for hours. Those side flaps built into so many headrests on buses and planes were designed exactly to solve that problem. They're not decorative and they're not just structural. They're functional and adjustable for a very clear reason. When you fold them gently inward, they create side support for your head that keeps it from tipping over involuntarily while you sleep. Through turns, sudden braking, or turbulence, they keep your head stabilized without any conscious effort on your part. A simple feature that most people never use correctly, and one that's been built into transit seats around the world for decades. Number 7. The tiny hole on your DVD player. With the rise of streaming, DVD players gradually faded out of everyday life. But for many years, they were one of the main pieces of home entertainment equipment. And one specific problem kept coming up again and again: a stuck tray with no apparent fix. If the tray jammed or the device lost power with a disc still inside, there was an emergency feature that most people never discovered. On the front of the player, there's a tiny, almost invisible hole. By carefully inserting a straightened paperclip into it and pressing gently, you manually trigger the internal mechanism and the tray pops open. No electricity needed, no technician required, no damage to the device. A piece of engineering designed specifically for emergencies, one that probably would have saved a lot of people a lot of stress, if only more of them had known it existed. Number 8. The correct side of a bobby pin. This is one of the most common and most silent mistakes in everyday life, made by most people who use bobby pins regularly without ever having been taught the correct way to use them. The wavy side of the pin is supposed to face your scalp, not face outward, which is what most people do instinctively, assuming the ridges are meant to be seen. Those small ridges aren't decorative. They're designed specifically to increase friction between the pin and your hair, creating a much more effective, longer-lasting hold. Used on the wrong side, the ridges end up touching air instead of hair, and the pin slips out far more easily, losing most of its purpose. Number 9. The hole in your pot handle. It's natural to look at the hole in a pot's handle and assume it's only there for hanging the pot on a hook, on a wall, or a shelf, and that is indeed one of its functions, but it's not the main one, and it's probably not the reason it was originally designed that way. While you're cooking, you can rest the spoon or spatula you're using to stir food right in that opening while the pot is still on the stove. The utensil stays suspended over the pot, held in a stable position without touching the counter or making a mess around it. It's an elegant solution to a small but recurring kitchen problem, one that most people solve in other ways, never realizing the solution had been built right into the pot handle all along. Number 10. The hole in the spaghetti spoon. The large hole in the center of a spaghetti spoon is probably the most underrated detail on this entire list, because most people assume it's only there to make handling the pasta easier or to cut down on the utensil's weight. But it was actually designed for something far more specific and practical, working as a built-in portion measurer. The amount of dry spaghetti that fits through that circle corresponds roughly to the recommended portion for one adult meal. Just take the dry pasta, fit it through the hole, and you've got the exact right amount. No scale, no measuring, no waste. A design detail so simple and so useful that it feels obvious the moment someone explains it, but one that most people have been using for years without ever noticing.
10 objects, 10 details that were right in front of you the whole time, 10 smart solutions that someone thought through carefully and that were completely overlooked by most of the people who use them every single day. The interesting part isn't just discovering what these details are for, it's realizing how many other things around you are probably hiding functions you still don't know about. Because if these 10 went unnoticed, how many more are still waiting for you to see them? If this video surprised you with even one detail you didn't already know, drop a like. It's quick and it helps the channel grow more than you'd think. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss what's coming next, because there's a lot more curiosity waiting for you. And comment below which of these 10 details surprised you the most. We read every single comment.